All right, let's just jump right in. For what feels like forever, we've been told the secret to a long life was, pretty straightforward. Eat less, move more, and definitely avoid fat. But what if I told you that all of that established wisdom is, well, crumbling? The entire science of longevity is being radically shaken up, and the very foods you think are helping you might actually be holding you back.
So you really have to ask yourself, is the healthy diet you're so carefully following secretly failing you? The old rules are being tossed out the window, and it turns out the real path to a longer, healthier life is way more surprising and way more personal than any of us ever thought.
To figure out where we're going, we first have to get a handle on the confusing territory we're leaving behind. For decades, the world of diet advice has been less of a helpful guide and more of a total war zone. And this really paints the picture, doesn't it? In one corner, you've got the old guard, the ones who've been preaching lifelong calorie restriction forever. And in the other corner, you have these newer challengers, the fasting fanatics and the keto crusaders. It's just an absolute battlefield of conflicting ideas. And it's exactly why you might feel like you're getting whiplash every time you open a health app. But here's the real kicker. The problem isn't just that the advice is conflicting. It's that we've been looking at the wrong map entirely. What works for a lab mouse in some sterile, controlled cage just doesn't translate to a complex human being living a real life. These one-size-fits-all plans were doomed to fail because they completely ignore our own individual biology. We've been trying to navigate our own unique bodies with a generic, totally outdated atlas. So let's start by busting the first and maybe the biggest myth of them all. That bedrock of old-school longevity advice, the idea that just cutting calories is the magic ticket to a longer life. For decades, this was the absolute gold standard. It came from studies on things like yeast and flies and mice. And the idea was so simple and seductive. Just restrict your calories by about 30%, and boom, you could extend your life by that same amount. But then came the human reality check.
And this is where the whole paradigm just flips on its head. We're moving away from the simple math of calories in, calories out, and we're starting to understand the language of food. It's not about starving your cells. It's about giving them the right information, the right signals to switch on our body's own incredible built-in repair mechanisms.
So you might be wondering, why was the old human data so misleading? Well, a huge reason is this thing called healthy user bias. Just think about it for a second. The kind of person who meticulously cuts their calories by 30% is probably the same person who goes to the gym, gets 8 hours of sleep, and doesn't smoke, right? It makes it almost impossible to prove that it was the diet alone that made the difference. Okay, next up, let's talk about the trend that took the entire world by storm: intermittent fasting. It's everywhere, but what if I told you the science has already evolved past that into something way more nuanced and powerful? This is the key. The real cutting-edge conversation has moved on. It's not just about if you fast anymore, it's about when you eat. The actual timing of your meals throughout the day might be just as crucial, maybe even more crucial than how many hours you fast.
And this all comes down to what scientists call the Circadian Code. Here's a simple way to think about it. Your body is like a highly efficient factory. The day shift is amazing at processing food for energy. But the night shift, their job is cleanup and repair. So when you eat a big meal late at night, it's like asking the cleanup crew to suddenly run the assembly line. They're just not designed for it, and things get messy.
All right, now we're getting into the really heated part of the diet wars. Let's talk about the big three: protein, carbs, and fat, and how. Basically, everything we thought we knew about them is being completely flipped upside down. Just take a look at this. First, you've got the protein paradox. For years, we were told to limit protein because it activates this growth pathway called mTOR. But now the science is showing that as we get older, we actually need more high-quality protein to fight off serious muscle loss. Then there's the carb confusion. It's not about all carbs are bad. It's about choosing the right ones for you, the ones that don't send your blood sugar on a crazy roller coaster. And my favorite, the redemption of fat. The low-fat craze is officially over. We now know that the right kinds of healthy fats act like these essential little shields, protecting our cells from damage. And to really hammer home that point about protein, we have to talk about sarcopenia. This isn't just about feeling a little weaker as you get older. This is a primary driver of disability and, yes, mortality. It's literally the difference between living an independent, active life and needing help with basic, everyday tasks. Keeping your muscle as you age is absolutely non-negotiable. So, if the old maps are wrong and all the rules are changing, where on earth do we go from here? Well, the answer isn't some new, trendy diet. It's a huge fundamental shift towards something called hyperpersonalization. This right here is the ultimate takeaway. The era of the one-size-fits-all diet is over. Done. The search for the perfect diet in a book or on a blog, it's just a failing strategy. Your ideal nutritional plan, the one that will actually work for you, is written in your own biological data. And what's so incredible is that for the first time ever, we actually have the tools to read that data. Things like continuous glucose monitors let you see in real time how your body reacts to a banana versus, say, a cookie. Epigenetic testing can show you which of your genes are literally switched on or off right now. And microbiome analysis gives you a snapshot of those trillions of bacteria in your gut that play a massive role in your health. It really all comes down to this single, powerful idea. The longevity war isn't about finding the one right diet for everybody. It's about finding the right, up-to-date data for your body. Your path to 100 is as unique as your fingerprint. So, I'm gonna leave you with this final thought. We're always so eager to jump on the next diet, to follow the next set of rules. But what if the single most powerful first step you could take isn't changing a thing you eat, but finally starting to listen to what your own body has been trying to tell you all along?